Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Hard Count podcast. And today, we're going to be going over Week 3 waiver wire pickups. Week 2 is over already. We still got Monday Night Football tonight, I know, but the majority of the games were on Sunday. So we're going to be taking those guys into account, who had some great games, looking for some good upside in players this week. So yeah, let's start. I've got 8 guys for you today. I know last time I only did 4, and the time before that 5. I'm going to talk about these guys a little bit quicker. I'm going to give you a little more options, just in case, a guy is picked up in your fantasy league, or you just need multiple options on the waivers. You don't have top priority. I'm going to give you a couple more this week. So, yeah. All right, we're starting with some injuries. We're rushing to replace them this week, and we're starting with the Giants. The biggest news this past weekend, Saquon Barkley tore his ACL, out for the rest of the season, which is very, very unfortunate for the Giants and fantasy owners that own Saquon Barkley, and also it's unfortunate for Saquon Barkley. Hope he's doing all right. But what this means is there's a bunch of vacated carries down in New York, and who's going to fill them? Dion Lewis, Wayne Gallman, those are must pickups this week off the waivers. I just said Saquon Barkley is out for the year with his knee. Giants right now, Lewis and Gallman are the contenders to take those carries. And Gallman, he was inactive week 2, so we don't know if he's going to play this coming week. And Lewis took all the touches. 20 rushing yards on 10 carries, 36 receiving yards, 4 catches on 5 targets, and a score. And, Dion Lewis, he's been considered his whole career, change of pace, receiving back. So we're not sure exactly what his workload is going to look like, but he's going to get more touches, certainly. And he's definitely a must-pick-up guy, especially in PPR leagues, because he is a guy that's going to get you 5-6 receptions a game, which are very, 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 very valuable touches in PPR leagues. So Dion Lewis, especially in PPR leagues, pick him up. Wayne Gallman might actually be the guy to own in standard leagues, especially because he's going to be the one that's probably going to be getting the goal line carries, not as much Dion Lewis, but we won't really know until we see this backfield in action. But both these guys are guys that you definitely want to consider picking up and putting on your bench, because there's 20, 25 to 30 carries a game that are going to be vacated for the Giants. Yes, they're probably going to pass it a little more, but who are they going to go to? They got to go to somebody. So you want that guy on your bench, and that's going to be Dion Lewis or Wayne Gallman, assuming they don't pick anyone up, which they might, but we will talk about that next week if they do. So, yeah, unfortunate as it may be, Saquon Barkley out for the year definitely helps out their fantasy values for this year. So, yeah. Next, we've got another major injury, Christian McCaffrey. He went down. Reports say he's going to be out for multiple weeks of the NFL season. And who's going to replace him? Mike Davis. And there's a reason that Christian McCaffrey was picked number 1 overall. And 1, because he was very, very good at football. And 2, gets a lot of touches. Those touches, they got to go somewhere. A lot of them are going to go to Mike Davis. And I think we look at it, Davis last week probably had 8 targets. He caught all 8 of them for 74 yards. He only rushed 1 time for 1 yard. But we can expect those carry numbers to go up because he's the one that's going to be replacing Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if obviously he's not going to be getting as many carries as Christian McCaffrey, but in PPR leagues, Mike Davis is a must pick up. Get him on your bench this week. See how things shake out in that Carolina offense. But with McCaffrey out for multiple weeks as it appears right now, Davis might be a guy that's good for 10 to 12 points a week. Going to be valuable in PPR leagues. So I like Mike Davis a lot. Unfortunate for Christian McCaffrey, but pick him up off the waivers if you can, and you need a running back that you can maybe start week to week. So next, we've got another guy that's benefiting off of an injury, unfortunately. Jerick McKinnon. Raheem Mostert left week 2's game early. We just got news that he is likely out for week 3 as well, which definitely helps Jerick McKinnon. And I think we all know that any running back in the 49ers system has value. Last year, they were the second most run-heavy team in the NFL, behind only Baltimore, which was historically run-heavy. So very, very run-heavy team here. There's enough carries to go around in that 49ers offense to support multiple backs, and Jerick McKinnon is one of two right now, along with Tevin Coleman. And we look at what they did last week. Yes, Tevin Coleman definitely got more carries than Jerick McKinnon, but was way less productive. He averaged just over a yard per carry, while Jerick McKinnon, on much less, he ran for 77 yards, a score, and added 28 yards on 2 receptions. He was much more efficient. So, obviously the workload does favor Coleman, but I think the 49ers are going to be considering giving the ball to Jerick McKinnon a lot more this week. And I think he should definitely be owned in PPR leagues, even if Mostert comes back, because he has value there. Again, they can support multiple backs. He's going to be the number 1 receiving back for them. So I like Jerick McKinnon a lot. Unfortunate that Mostert had to go down, but definitely helps out his value. Next, we've got another guy that benefited off of an injury, Darrell Henderson. We've got 4 running backs in a row. Crazy how many injuries we got this past week. But last week, Malcolm Brown was the hot pickup. Everyone wanted to pick him up out of the Rams' backfield. This week, we got Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson this week had a better week than Malcolm Brown. I told you guys to sit Malcolm Brown, and Darrell Henderson wasn't the reason why, but Malcolm Brown didn't perform nonetheless. We saw Darrell Henderson with 81 rush yards, 12 carries, 40 receiving yards on 2 catches from 4 targets. He was definitely very productive in this past week for the Rams, and I can expect that to continue. Brown wasn't targeted at all. I think Darrell Henderson looked very, very good, and there's carries to go around this offense. I think this offense can support 2 guys with 10 to 15 carries a game, and those are guys that you want on your bench. So I like Darrell Henderson a lot right now. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they started incorporating Darrell Henderson in that offense more and more as the year continues, because he looked more explosive. He looked better with his touches than Malcolm Brown. We don't know how long Cam Akers is going to be out, but Darrell Henderson right now looks very promising in that Rams offense, which is very, very good. We saw them put up 39 points in this last week. I think they're a very good team. They're going to be up a lot. They're going to be wanting to run the ball. Darrell Henderson is the guy. So, yeah, I like Darrell Henderson a lot. Next, we got another running back. I told you to do this before week 1. I'm telling you to do it after week 1. Joshua Kelly. Again, he was on my past 2 videos, so if you still haven't listened to me, go pick him up. He's now owned in more than 40% of leagues, and I think this is just only going to continue to increase through the season. I think his role is going to keep increasing for the Chargers as the season goes on. Kelly saw a big workload against the Chiefs, and yes, Austin Eckler did have a big game. He had 18 fantasy points, and he did outgain Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly saw more touches. He led the backfield in touches, and a guy that you can definitely stash on your bench and play week in, week out. The Chargers offense, to me, looked much more promising with Justin Herbert than it did with Tyrod Taylor. So they're going to be up a little bit more. They're going to be getting more goal line opportunities. They're going to be getting the ball down the field more often. So that means more touches for Joshua Kelly, more red zone touches for Joshua Kelly. Speaking of red zone touches, he seems to be the guy in the red zone for the Chargers over Austin Eckler. Week 1, we saw double the red zone carries. We saw him more in the red zone as well this week. So I think, again, if you still haven't listened to me, pick up Joshua Kelly. He's going to go up this week. He's going to go up next week. He's just going to keep rising in the views of fantasy owners. So do it before it's too late. Pick up Joshua Kelly. Next, we've got a wide receiver, our first wide receiver here. Sorry if you were waiting for the wide receivers. I know we just did 5 running backs, but hopefully if you were needing a running back, one of those guys is available in your leagues and you can pick them up. So next, we've got wide receiver Keelan Cole for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Keelan Cole's back. He's turning into a solid fantasy football option again. And last week, we saw Keelan Cole, 6 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets. Week 1, we saw 5 receptions for 47 yards, a touchdown on 5 targets. Very promising. 7 targets, 5 targets. We're looking at a good targeted receiver. I mean, a lot of top receivers are getting 9-10 targets a game, so we're looking at 6-7 for Keelan Cole. That's a guy you can play in your flex week to week. Gardner Minshew is looking very good. This offense is looking very good. Keelan Cole is a benefactor of that. DJ Chark is getting the number 1 corner. Keelan Cole, not so much. he's getting open in the end zone. As we've seen, he got a touchdown last week and the week before it. So, I think Cole easily could turn into second best receiving option and really carry some value on a team that has a good offense, a quarterback that stock is rising right now in the league. So definitely a guy to pick up, put on your bench. Maybe you can start him week to week in the flex if these numbers continue. And so, especially in deeper leagues, pick up Keelan Cole if you have not already. And next we've got another receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. Michael Pittman, this is another benefactor of an injury. And I told you to pick him up before week 1. And I don't think I can take too much of a victory for that because he wasn't very promising week 1. But Paris Campbell, who was the wide receiver 2 in that offense, went down with a PCL injury and will be out for the rest of the season. So now look where we are. We're back with Michael Pittman on the waiver wire pickups list. And that's because I said if Michael Pittman becomes the wide receiver 2 in this offense, he is definitely a viable fantasy option. And I like Pittman a lot as a guy in this Colts offense that will be the wide receiver 2 for the rest of the year. And the Colts offense looked relatively promising last week as well. And Pittman's targets went up last week. So I like Pittman a lot this season. Would not be a bad pickup at all. I like him this week. If you want to play him in the flex this week against this Jets defense that has been absolutely terrible, Jets are the worst team in the league, I like Michael Pittman a lot as wide receiver 2 in that Colts offense that looked relatively promising last week against Minnesota. So Michael Pittman, I don't know. I wasn't expecting him to be here week 3, but here he is on the waiver wire pickups list. So pick him up if you can. Next, we've got another guy that I put last week on the waiver wire list. Sorry to repeat these guys, but if you haven't picked him up, pick him up now. And I know it's a little weird because not often can an offense really support 3 wide receivers in fantasy football week in, week out. But Atlanta might be one of those unique offenses that can do that because it looks like they're one of the best offenses in the league. They're good for 30-plus points every single week. So, I think that this offense can support 3 wide receivers, and we saw it last week and we saw it the week before. So Gage, I like Gage a lot because he is one of those guys that is supported by the offense. He followed up 9 catches in week 1 with 6 week 2, 46 yards and a touchdown. So if he can keep up this consistent target share of, anywhere in that range of 6 to 9 targets, he's going to be a very regular flex play that you can play week in, week out for that Falcons offense. Has very good touchdown upside because they're scoring 5 touchdowns a game in that Atlanta offense. One of them there's a high chance that one of them is going to go to Russell Gage because he's got the 3rd corner on him. So you got to pick your poison with Atlanta's offense. I'm stopping Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley before I'm stopping Russell Gage. And that's a huge thing for Russell Gage. He's going to be able to get open. He's going to be able to get open in the end zone. I could see consistent production throughout the year for Russell Gage and a guy that could become a regular flex play week in, week out. So those are my guys for this week. Week 3 waiver wire pickups. Excited for Monday Night Football tonight. Pick these guys up if you can. Let me know if you're picking any of them up. If you have any decisions, if you should pick one guy up over another guy. Comment, subscribe, like, as always. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.